typical now teams have 3 or 4 games of tape on you.
Yeah, and Mason Rudolph just, I don't know.
Rudolph, week of Christmas, kind of makes sense, right? NFL script writers at it again. They think they're sneaky, but they just throw that in there. Oh, we're going to start a guy with the last name of Rudolph the week of Christmas, and he's going to win a game he's not supposed to.
They said this morning that Pickett expected to be medically cleared this week, but they're not sure who they're going with at quarterback next week now.
That's rough for Pickett if that's the case.
That's what Rappaport said this morning on NFL Network.
Because that would just destroy confidence. You put in the work to rehab and come back, and then bang,
forget.
We're good.
They play Seattle next week too, so big game. Steelers have to win out to even have a shot.
I think doesn't Seattle also has to win out, don't they?
Seattle has to win out, including today.
Yeah, I know. And they play the Titans today. That's kind of I feel like that one's almost a trap.
I was actually going to take the Titans, but I am hearing Will Levis is not expected to play.
Nope, Tannehill.
Yeah, so I'm not taking inactive officially. So yeah, I'm not taking the Titans. We'll get to that game in a minute. That's actually the first one I have up here, but yeah, I don't know. We'll obviously talk about it more in depth tomorrow while we watch the Ravens game. But Thursday Night Football was just more of us learning that the Rams are a team you do not want to touch the rest of the season.
Yeah,
you don't want to face them. I think the Bills are the same way, especially if they win the AFC East,
which they have a legitimate shot at.
Well, yeah, because they just need to win out, and the Dolphins just need to lose one.
Right, and the Dolphins got a hard matchup today.
Well, their next 3 games are the Cowboys today, Baltimore next week on New Year's Eve, and then the Bills to end the season.
That one could be the one if Miami. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that would. Well, that kind of puts an importance on that game, which is kind of nice for last week of the season, right?
Yeah, that might be the game they flex into primetime.
Yeah, if it ends up that way. I mean,
because they make sure they don't set anything for 8:20 anymore on the final week. They just wait and see who the game they want there is.
And then they tell them, here's where you're going.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Rams getting hot at the right time. They got a lot of weapons. Good morning. Happy Christmas Eve as well.
What he said. Eating my bagel.
But no, they got to run. The Rams got a run game. Stafford's looking super efficient, back to when he was in his best.
Yeah, when he was throwing to Calvin Johnson.
Yeah. They're just, with Nakua and Kupp, the run game.
And like you said, I mean, Kyron missed 5 games this week. Well, 4 games in 3 quarters this year, and he's already hit 1,000 yards. Yes, I said bagel, not bagel.
It's bagel.
It's bagel. You might have watched me attempted to get seduced by a male devil yesterday, but I have not lost my brain cells.
Doesn't help that I only had 2 to start with, so. But no, that defense, it's younger, but it seems to be working. I mean, they did have a little bit of a lapse there towards the end of the game, but
they're struggling at times. But there's times where they're ball hungry. They're not the best in coverage. They're not the best at stopping the run, but they're really good at taking the ball away from you. So
yeah,
I don't know, but we'll get more into that. We got fantasy relevant injuries today. We hopefully get some fantasy questions as we get to the semifinals here, and we got some big games to talk about. And I have a feeling Dallas is going to take us some time. So
yeah, that one's definitely a big one.
What's up, Bricklin? How you doing, buddy? Happy holidays to you,
sir. Bricklin.
And to you, the wife, and all the children. And
just quickly before we get into more football, Did you see the Otani thing with Joe Kelly's wife?
I just saw it this morning. Oh yeah,
He gifted Joe Kelly's wife a Porsche because Joe Kelly gave him his number.
A guy just enjoying life and spending money because he can.
Otani is a Porsche brand ambassador, by the way.
I did not know that, but you mentioned it. It was actually breaking news right before we got on. Jim Harbaugh has officially received a 10-year, $125 million contract extension offer from the Michigan Wolverines. Part of the contract stipulates that if he takes it, he cannot even entertain a head coaching job in 2024 in the NFL. So he would have to just be committed fully. He can't get a phone call at the end of Black Friday or Black Monday, and debate a coaching job or anything else. He has to be fully committed.
Do you think he makes him sweat it?
I do. I think he waits till Black Monday ends and sees what maybe he might get an opportunity somewhere.
Well, isn't it good news for Harbaugh too? Now he knows the money that's on the table. So if he goes to the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, $12.5 million a year is not that much for one of the top coaches in college football, if you think about it. I mean, I don't know what Nick Saban's getting. I could be wrong, but I think
Saban gets like 12.
Okay, so it's good money. I don't know. I just part of me thinks if he goes to the Chargers, there's a chance Spanos pays him heavily.
Just remember though, because Saban is employed by Alabama, he is the highest paid Alabama State employee.
Oh, it's crazy.
Saban gets $11.4 million a year. Dabo Swinney 10.9, Kirby Smart 10.7. So
10.9 for Dabo Swinney, man.
Mel Tucker was getting $10 million at Michigan State. Lincoln Riley's number's not out, but they estimate $10 million a year.
They paid Mel Tucker $10 million.
Mm-hmm. Brian Kelly, LSU 9.9, Jimbo Fisher 9.1, Mark Stoops at Kentucky 9.01.
What the hell is happening to my camera? There we go.
So yeah, they got 10 million. Let's see, when was this from? Oh, that was from October 31st. So
yeah, it's all accurate. So $12.5 million is a good deal. All right, I mean, he might take it. I don't know.
All top 25 earn more than $6 million a year.
I mean, he might. They only stipulated in the contract that he can't talk coaching job this coming season in 2024.
What happens if he gets this massive suspension?
That's the thing. If I'm him, I'm I just want to get away from college football. Clearly, they're targeting his career right now. Just get out. Just go to the NFL. There's no. I mean, Adam Schefter and multiple others have all confirmed that Spanos is interested in Jim Harbaugh as the Chargers' next head coach. There's a chance the Raiders' head coaching job becomes available. I don't know if they're going to keep Antonio Pierce. Dennis Allen, you could go to the Saints if you really think Derek Carr and Jim Harbaugh work together. I don't. But
I don't either.
But
so just to compare it, Bill Belichick is the top paid NFL coach at $25 million a year. Sean Payton is number 2 at $18 million a year. Pete Carroll is number 3 at $15 million a year. And he's tied with McVay at 15, and Kyle Shanahan of the 49ers gets $14 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, he'd never be poor for sure. But I don't think he'd lose a little money. Jim Harbaugh would come in with that reputation of a top 5 paid head coach.
The one thing that people say could be important to him is that being in Michigan, he lives right next door to his dad.
I did not know that's where they were from.
So, that could be almost like a sentimental thing, but we'll see. I think I kind of feel like he leaves. It'll be harder for him to leave if they win the championship, I think. But if they lose it, yeah, at 10 to 15, yeah, he could probably get the team to do it for him. You know what I mean? But I feel like if they lose in the college football playoff, he's more likely to go than if they win.
I also could see him going to Washington And then you can just move your dad down here, and then you're near John, Jim, and the dad are all near each other, and everybody's happy. The whole
Could you
family's
imagine?
together. Commanders are going to have a head coaching availability. They're going to have a pick early enough to get a quarterback of his choosing. He could bring J.J. McCarthy in.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Interesting news, though. I saw it this morning, like literally 15 minutes before I sent you the link to join in the podcast. So thought that was interesting. But yeah, I saw the Ohtani thing. I just didn't get all the way into it. I didn't know what happened. I did not know he was a Battle of the Beltway game would be fire. So the problem with the Battle of the Beltway game in baseball, it's great because it's during the regular season. But because they're AFC and NFC, the only time they play each other, they do make sure it happens every year, but it's in the preseason. So I just never care when the Ravens and Commanders play each other now. But it would be interesting. All right, we got games to pick, fantasy questions to answer, people to chit-chat with if they want to talk, anything, Christmas holiday, anything really. All right. Anyway, Seahawks Titans is the first one. I mentioned that a minute ago. It's still fun to go watch. It is. I don't know. If it's in Baltimore, I'll watch. I would love to go watch, but I can't. FedEx Field is a fucking nightmare to get in and out of. I can't stand it. I've been there for a few soccer games, and I never want to do it again. But anyway, Seattle at Tennessee. No Will Levis today with the ankle injury. Geno is starting. He was apparently benched last week, as he claims he is emotionally recovered from not playing last Monday night.
Well, I don't think Seattle's really going to say, well, we made the wrong decision.
Seattle made the right decision. No offense to the Eagles, but I don't think Geno Smith could do what Drew Lock did to that defense in that last drive.
No, I don't think so either.
Because Geno doesn't seem to have the confidence to just throw it deep. Drew Lock doesn't care. He just throws it deep.
Yeah, Drew Lock's got a little bit of that Zach Wilson in him. What are they going to do, bench me?
Yeah.
So right now, let's see. I have to pull up the lines.
It's 50 degrees, 0% chance of participation according to this, with 4-mile-an-hour winds. So nothing bad today. Seattle's a 3-point favorite according to my phone.
On the road, right?
Yeah, it's in Nashville.
So for the Titans, no Will Levis. That means Tannehill starting. On the offensive line, they will be starting 2 rookies on the left side and a new starter at right tackle.
I mean, I can't say it's a bad thing. This is the game to do it. Seattle has no pass rush.
They have 39 total sacks.
Oh, I don't know who it's all from, but good.
Yeah, because they lost Nwosu a while ago. Yeah.
I'm just trying to see who it is now.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I was kind of leaning Titans, but after learning about that O-line stuff, I'm just like,
Taylor, Breed, Mafe. Boye Mafe has 7 sacks.
Okay.
And Reed's got 6. I went Seahawks. I made my picks
and the other thing that's real concerning for the Titans is Derrick Henry is falling off a cliff.
Yeah. This is the game to get right. Seattle doesn't do great against the run, if I remember statistically. I don't have it memorized, but let me pull it up. They are 25th against the run. So this is definitely the game to get it right for Derrick Henry, especially with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. You need the run game. But no, I think Seattle knows they have to win out. Pete Carroll's one of those coaches that can coach to the situation, and I think that Pete Carroll will get the job done. And apparently Geno looked really – Pete said that he was actually Pete said he was evaluating the 2 this week. And he said Geno is starting because Geno looked incredibly crisp during practice this week. So,
maybe it kind of lit a fire under his ass, and that's what Pete was trying to do because they got to push down the stretch.
Yeah, they really got to get a roll going. But no, I'll take Seahawks.
Oh, the other thing the Titans did was they actually put Simmons on IR, essentially ending his season.
Yeah. I mean, they're done. They're eliminated technically, so.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I got to go Seahawks here. I could see the Titans, like maybe Tannehill comes out and is super efficient for a game. and that's how they end up losing to Seattle loses to the Titans. But outside of that, and even that is a long shot. I could see Tannehill also just throwing 3 interceptions.
Yeah, but I could see Tannehill try. I mean, he's probably not playing next week, so come out and audition and say, hey, maybe somebody in the league will want me next year, even if it's just a backup.
Because he's at the end of his deal. He was what, 4 years, like almost 120 million, Tannehill?
Yep. Yeah. He's got to prove he still has value to somebody.
I mean, somebody would certainly take him as a backup, but
I think the Bucs are a perfect place for him as a backup. I heard this morning that
they're committed to Baker, apparently.
In the offseason, they're going to try and work out a 2 to 3 year deal. So, I mean, he's done well. He hasn't done great, but he hasn't done terrible. And ever since Rachaad White's become a good running back, the offense has been clicking. So, why not? I don't have anything against committing to Baker. They're way too far down the draft order to get one of the top 4 quarterbacks. So,
yeah, I mean, and we've seen recently more quarterbacks coming out of later rounds and being fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really just hit or miss, right?
Michael Irvin tried to argue they should give him a 4 or 5 year deal, and I was like, you can't trust Baker that far down the road.
No,
give him 2 years, 3 years.
Depending on what he's trying to get money wise, because you're not giving him 25 million. I mean, the more you could save, because you're going to have to in order to keep Evans.
Well, that's one of the things they reported this morning was that Baker understands that they have a lot of expiring contracts, so they might have to.
And he's always been a team-friendly dude, so it just seems like he's not going to get a massive contract, but they'll make it lucrative enough for him to stay for probably 2. It'd probably be like a 2-year deal.
Yeah, that's what I would think. I mean, you're losing Evans right now. As of right now, Evans is on his way out, and so are both middle linebackers, Devin White and the legend, Thomas Davis. No, that's not it. I'm blanking on the name, but we all know who he is. The other middle linebacker. Oh, it's going to bother me.
I can't. I'm like trying to think of him off the top of my head, and I'm like,
no, I got to pull them up. I know. It's Levante David.
Okay. Yes.
They're both Devin White and Levante David's contracts are both expiring. Mike Evans' contract's expiring. So like they've got to get tight with their money quick. So but anyway, Colts Falcons is the next one. Talk about a barn burner. Falcons are somehow a 2.5 point favorite.
Yeah, I don't understand that line. Especially with the Colts. So, like, what is Vegas saying? The Colts are frauds?
I don't know. There is no Zach Moss, but Jonathan Taylor returns. Taylor Heineke's the quarterback for the Falcons, but there's no Michael Pittman for the Colts today because
shoulder.
Well, he cleared concussion protocol earlier this week.
Oh, and then they put him back in.
He went back into it this morning.
Yeah.
He was already dealing with a shoulder injury, so they're calling it a shoulder injury, but he went back into concussion protocol.
That's what I did read about that this morning, that he actually has to go back into the protocol and like start over because he had symptoms.
Yeah, so I have the Colts. Even without Pittman, I just don't. The Falcons are just so freaking inconsistent. I can't believe anything they're doing right now.
So right before this, I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about the owner and the head coaching situation as well. And nothing's off the table right now.
Is Blank going to change direction?
I mean, I would.
I know at the end of week six, he said Arthur Smith will be back in 2024, but a lot's changed since week 6. So I don't know.
Indy's got that ridiculous streak of like 19 straight games with a takeaway.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at Indy through the like season, the way to beat them is in a shootout. Atlanta can't do that.
No, they can't. I mean, they have the talent to, but they don't do it.
And yeah, I don't know. I feel like Taylor could have a good game, and it's just hard to trust anything Atlanta does on offense when you lose 9-7 to Carolina.
That's what I said.
So
I just
I'm on the Indianapolis Colts this week here. I think is it Cowherd? Cowherd says he never bets on Atlanta because you just never know what you're going to get out of him.
Exactly. Yeah, he did, and I agree. I just don't think there's anything consistent out of that team anymore. The defense seems to be the only thing that's getting better. The offense, like you said, 9-7 last week. And I get that it was in a monsoon, but Carolina is so bad, you had to win that game.
And with the weapons you have, you should be able to establish a pretty damn good run game.
Yep. Yeah. I agree, especially with those two running backs, and then you still can even throw Cordell Patterson in to be the third if you need it. Like you have Pitts and London, Jonnu Smith. Like you have too much power to be a very slow-paced, boring offense.
And Desmond Ridder has like flashes, but he's just not it.
Yeah, they're going back to Heineke this week because they just keep playing quarterback roulette between the two of them. But maybe take a sign for the Browns and go get one of those veterans that just can sling it. It's working, so just do it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about him when we get there. But
call up the Rams. See if Carson Wentz. See if he's on the practice squad. If he is, take him. Okay.
Yeah, I can't. He's not going to be any worse than Desmond Ridder.
Exactly. Like I don't know. It's whatever. Like I don't know. I just feel bad. Atlanta had so much potential this year with Bijan being added to the team. The offense is just so bad. It's crazy to me that Kyren Williams has missed 4.5 games and he's already at 1,000 yards. And because of Arthur Smith's poor usage of Bijan Robinson, he's only at 800 yards.
Yeah, that's all it is poor usage. Like it's not there.
Yeah. It's mind-boggling. And Justin Jefferson could wind up with 1,000 yards this season receiving, and he's missed 7 games.
I mean, it is Jay Jetta, but
they said he needs to average like 103 a game the rest of the season. I was like, well, that's not that bad. Anyway, next one is Browns Texans in Houston. Browns are a 3-point road favorite. Case Keenum versus Joe Flacco. CJ Stroud officially inactive.
They're eyeing a return for week 17.
Yeah, they said at the end of the week he started showing improvement and actually got into practice Friday a little bit. So it's a good sign moving forward for the Texans, especially if they can somehow pull this off this weekend and stay right there in the playoff race. Funny stat, though, about the Browns that a lot of people don't know. They're allowing 33 points per game on the road and only 13 at home.
Yeah, I actually had that written down as well. League low 13.1 per game at home. League worst 30.7 points per game on the road.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's insane.
And Myles Garrett hasn't had a sack since Thanksgiving.
Oh, so him and like Mike are cousins or something, right? It's kind of weird. Because you think about it and you're like, you've been picking them in games, not realizing that on the road is where all their games where they're getting, the high scoring games out of the way.
Yeah. And this is on the road, but the Texans without CJ Stroud, I still have a hard time understanding how they're going to win this game.
I couldn't take them here.
I can't either. I'm taking the Browns.
I just think that defense is just, even though what we just said about the points, I don't think.
If it was CJ Stroud, I'd take the Texans. But
Case Keenum.
Case Keenum turns the ball over too much. I just don't see it being. The secondary is still good. They still make plays. I just can't. I don't know. I just can't believe in the Texans without CJ Stroud against a team like the Browns. And I don't know. Interesting little random facts about this game. 10 years ago in 2013, Case Keenum was the Houston Texans quarterback in a game against Joe Flacco as a Baltimore Raven. And in the same season was DeMeco Ryans' final season as a player, and he sacked Joe Flacco 3 times and intercepted him in that game. And now he's coaching against him.
And Joe Flacco's playing.
Yeah. But no, I have the Browns. Joe Flacco is throwing. He's thrown for more 300-yard games than Justin Fields and Pickett has in their career combined, and he's done it just this season. So,
yeah, that's kind of amazing, but also an indictment on Fields and Pickett. Not that they needed that smoke today, but I guess you're giving it to them.
But I still think he gets 300 more again today. The Texans defense has been giving up some yards lately,
and they got some injuries they're dealing with.
Oh, they're beat up everywhere. They're a real injured riddled team. So, all right, next one I don't even want to mention, but Panthers Packers in Carolina. I assume it's not a monsoon for a second consecutive week, but I will double check.
Yeah, we can check that.
No Jaden Reed for the Packers, but no CJ Henderson for the Panthers, so it kind of balances.
52 and sunny.
Yep. So I will say this. Jair Alexander has finally decided to get off his couch, and he's going to play football this weekend.
Oh, wow.
Weird time to do it. Christmas Eve, make a return, but I guess a present to the Packers fans. But I'm taking Carolina.
God, I tried to convince myself to do it this morning just because I was like, well, it's Green Bay, it's Matt's team. Bro, Carolina's only scored more than 20 points 3 times this season.
I know.
But Hubbard has been playing better in the run game.
We have the 30th ranked run defense.
Oh, God.
And they have the second best pass defense in the NFL.
Which is insane, right? It just shows you how bad their offense is.
Yep. Oh, their offense is abysmal. They're 30th, 31st, and 17th in the 3 categories of total yards, passing yards, and rushing. And rushing's the 17th.
Oh, man.
We do get A.J. Dillon back.
Yeah, you got both running backs healthy again.
But I'm taking the Panthers anyway.
Oh, you're taking my
Why? Simply because if I'm wrong, I'm all right with it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to take the Packers here just because I just don't see Carolina putting up enough points to beat them. I can easily see Green Bay laying a stinker and losing a game here. And that would actually be beneficial to my Patriots. So I'm not opposed if they happen to do that.
Yeah.
But if I don't trust Atlanta, I'm not going to trust Carolina.
Yeah, it's not that I trust Carolina. It's I trust Chuba Hubbard to run for like 200 yards today. No Devondre Campbell today for linebacker for the Packers. So I'm like, I just don't.
Ooh, yeah.
I just can't see. It has me nervous. Like, I don't want to lose to this team because 3 weeks ago I thought this team could go on a 5-0 run here to end the season and make a playoff run. I'd be happy if we finished 500 at this point. I just don't.
Yeah.
Granted, we have to win out to go 500 because we're 6-7, so we have to. We're 6-8. 6-8. So yeah, we have to win out. But I just, this game feels nasty trap. But
I did. You know, I type up my notes before the show, and I was doing it this morning, and I put Packers, and then I put 3 question marks after it because I was unsure.
Yeah. All week I was like, I'm going to pick the Packers this weekend. I'm going to do it. And then when I woke up this morning, I started doing a little research. I was like, Carolina pass defense with Jordan Love missing some really errant throws lately. I was like, I just don't know.
I feel like if Carolina's going to get over 20 points, then they're going to win. But they've only done that 3 times this season. They're probably going to need a defensive score to do it. So
yeah. All right, next one is 2 hopeless teams. Commanders visit the Jets.
And the Jets are a favorite.
Yeah.
A 3-point favorite. Like with it's Simeon today, right?
Yeah, it says NFL. The headline here on CBS: Jets NFL worst offense will face the Commanders' league worst defense in possible Christmas Eve snoozer.
So this is the game that they're calling when a stoppable object or when a stoppable force meets a movable object.
It's so funny too, because like if you think about that game and then you think about tomorrow night's game where it's the best defense versus the best offense, and it's
yeah. They're literally Baltimore and the Niners are like 1-2 in every category.
Yeah, there's not a category they're not first or second in on offense for the Niners and defense for the Ravens. And I'm like, this is going to be so much fun. And then there's this game. I'm taking the Commanders. I don't know why. I have no fucking clue why. Trevor Siemian, I don't know. I have no idea.
The Commanders do allow 30.2 points per game, which is the worst in the NFL, and they also allow the most yards per play.
Yeah, and the most to a number one receiver in the NFL too, which is a random deep fact stat.
I like this one. I feel like this one's a coin flip, especially because we're unsure of the Commanders, what they're doing at quarterback.
Well, they decided Sam Howell's going forward regardless of what happened last week. I don't know why. At this point, I'd be like, you know what, Brissett, go have fun.
Yeah, I just.
But I think
with that Jets secondary, I feel like Howell might throw 5 interceptions.
Yeah, like I feel like they're trying to see if Sam is really the guy they can rely on for next season and they can address other needs, or if they have to go get a quarterback. So I feel like they're just like, we're out already. Finish the last 3 games and show us what we really have. Is my own thought behind what the Commanders are doing. But I'm taking the Commanders simply off the fact that
like the Jets, like how, like they're gonna if I know the Commanders can score points. I don't know that about the Jets offense.
Yeah, I mean, Garrett Wilson's going to have a big game. Breece Hall would have to have a big game. Otherwise, I still think the Commanders just find a way to get this done. I don't know. This is such a bad game. I honestly wish we can. There's no rule for our picks against it, but I kind of want to say a tie. But I'll take the Commanders. And
wait, could this be the second 3-0 game we see this year?
No, that's Sunday Night Football. The Sunday Night Football tonight, it could easily be a 0-0 tie, and I would not be shocked.
Oh, is that the
Patriots Broncos?
Oh yeah. Defensive showdown.
I was like, I don't know why this is Sunday Night Football. But
the only thing popping will be those Denver jerseys.
But
God, I guess you're taking the Commanders, so I'll take the Jets.
Yeah, coin flip. We'll figure it out.
We'll play the coin flip game on this one. I mean, there's no good pick, so
yeah, 1,000,000% not a good pick. Not that it's going to be during game time. I just wanted to bring it up because I love snow. It's snowing right now in Denver. It's going to be 26 during game time, but it's going to be completely clear. So, unfortunately, I would love a snow game to add elements to that one.
Oh, yeah. Great.
All right, so the next one, Detroit heads to Minnesota. A win gets them the NFC North title automatically.
That would be their first since 93.
Yep. This is an interesting game because Minnesota needs to keep winning to even have a playoff run.
And they're going with Mullins, right?
Mullins is the quarterback, yeah. And Detroit plays Minnesota this week and then week 18 in 2 weeks. So
tune-ups.
This is one of 2. But interesting fact, Justin Jefferson in the Super Bowl era has the most yards by any receiver against a single team, and it is the Detroit Lions, as he averages 162 yards a game against the Detroit Lions.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So
that secondary is not good.
And Amon-Ra averages 105 against the Vikings a game. So
okay,
we can easily see we could see a 300-yard game from 2 receivers today, for all we know.
Let's see. It's tough because the Vikings defense is playing better.
Yeah, and they're getting a little healthier, while the Lions secondary just lost Jacobs. So the number one corner, who's not a number one corner on any team but the Lions, is now out. Man, this is in Minnesota. This is a tough game, but
Detroit's getting 2.5.
I'm going to go with the Vikings. I
mean, Mullins looked good last week.
Yeah, and a 5 touchdown game last week. Goff has to come back to earth, I assume. I don't know. This is tough, but I'm gonna go with. I'm definitely gonna go with. I'm gonna go with the Vikings. I'll stick with it.
Yeah, like is the moment too big for Detroit kind of deal?
I think they get it done next week. I don't remember who they play. Oh wait, they play the Cowboys next week. They could also be looking ahead to next week.
Trying to think.
By the way, I took the Panthers as my upset of the week. I don't know if I said that during that, but no, I don't know. I'm not confident in this pick because Nick Mullins could also have a bad game because it's not like he's a starter for a reason. But I just the Vikings want to play spoiler here and prevent the Lions from clinching the division against the division opponent. Go get the division next week if you want to.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to think here. I have the Lions written down. I'm kind of debating it, but I'll stick with it. I'll stick with the Lions.
Could also see a Danielle Hunter big game. You could see an Aiden Hutchinson big game. I really don't know what to expect here. This is going to be an interesting matchup. It's also a good test for the Lions to see before they play the Cowboys how good can we how well can we handle with our current team? How well can we handle a top receiver? Because you're going from Justin Jefferson this week to CeeDee Lamb next week, so you kind of gotta.
That game's in Dallas.
Yeah, it's in Dallas.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a interesting matchup then.
Yeah, but
yeah, I mean, Minnesota, now that they've moved off of Madison, their run game has gotten stronger, but Detroit's run game is incredibly strong.
Yeah, now the Montgomery's even going to play today, too. So now they're going to have both again.
Yeah, so you got to deal with that. Amon-Ra, Laporta.
Yep. And then Josh Reynolds always finds a way to somehow get open one time a game just to hurt you.
One time. That's all I need. One time. But on the other side, obviously Mullins is kind of not tried and tested, I guess, but he looked fine last week. You have Jefferson, Hawkinson.
Hawkinson's getting close to 1,000 yards.
So
he's like 981. So
you got plenty of talent on that side too. So it'll be a close game. I mean, this is one where I feel like Detroit could miss a field goal for the win and lose it.
Yeah, 100% agree with that too. Just came across the screen. Jets owner Woody Johnson says that Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas will be back next season.
Oh, I feel like they would get at least the run back next year with Aaron coming back.
Rodgers. Yeah, see what he has. Joe Douglas is the GM, and he needs to do his damn best to find free agents, draft picks, whatever he has to do, get an offensive line immediately.
Yeah,
because Aaron will not last a game behind that offensive line.
Not a shot. That line is god awful.
Yeah. All right, Bucks Jags in Tampa Bay. 1 point favorite Jacksonville on the road.
That
has been changed.
That changed because Trevor Lawrence is in.
Yes.
It used to be, I think the Bucks were the favorite. The Bucks were a 1.5 point favorite before Lawrence, and now they're a 1 point dog after Lawrence.
At one point, the Bucks were a 3 point favorite.
Yeah, it opened at 1.5. Sorry, that's how I should have said that.
Yeah. I'm taking Tampa Bay.
You know what's funny? I have the Bucks written down too, and it's funny because we were saying like how good Rachaad White has been as of late, but the Bucks are still one of the worst rushing teams in football with 3.5 yards per carry. So they might.
Part of that's they don't have a quarterback that runs, and they don't have anyone behind Rachaad White. He's the only running back. So like, go ahead.
Yeah, but like
he's got 7 less carries than ETN, but only 3 less yards.
Yeah, and I feel like ETN's fallen off a cliff.
He has walked into a wall. He has not had more than 60 yards in 4 consecutive games.
And I feel like Trevor Lawrence is turning the ball over way too much.
Yep, has more than Baker. Baker's actually way better than him this season. That is so weird to say.
Yeah, like you generally get a steady Baker output, right? It's like 240 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
Yeah.
That's like Baker's stat line.
But he's at 24-8 right now. Touchdown
Yeah.
to pick. I mean, a lot, like 17 of those touchdowns came against Green Bay last week, but just like it still bothers me. A perfect quarterback rating in Green Bay.
The first one ever, right?
Yeah,
And it's Baker Mayfield. Baker should have done the Aaron Rodgers "I own you" thing.
He's lost 3 consecutive in Lambeau, and then they let him come out and look like that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Wonderful.
Yeah, this Green Bay team is not Green Bay teams of old. That's for sure.
That's
at least on the defensive side.
That's secondary. I'm part of me just doesn't even understand how an offense that is so young can be better to watch than a defense. I mean, they're young, but like they have the veterans in the right place. They have a veteran safety, a veteran linebacker, a veteran defensive lineman, but they still look terrible. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that scares me about this game with Jacksonville and Tampa is how bad Tampa has been against the pass. Like
I was looking at that, and the crazy thing, they're 31st against the pass. The Jags are 29th against the pass.
Yeah, and you're covering Mike Evans and Godwin.
Chris Godwin apparently came back to life. So yeah, I don't know. And Rachaad White out of the backfield has been phenomenal as a receiver too. So
and also Tampa's playing for their division. Like if they can win this game, they're going to be set up pretty well.
Yeah, it would come down to they still have to obviously deal with the Saints and whatever the Saints do, but the Saints losing this week really helped them out on Thursday Night Football. I'm going Bucks.
I'm sticking the Bucks too. I'm okay with my pick there.
Yeah, I thought I'd be a little more nervous, but the Jags haven't really made me feel good in the past 4 weeks, especially against the Ravens last week. They just got outhandled everywhere.
Oh, and getting to the red zone 3 times and not coming away with any points.
Yeah.
Especially when you have ETN, like you think that's a layup, and they're not.
And Ingram.
They're not finishing. And that's what scared me with them early on was they were beating teams barely. You didn't see any dominant wins like you're seeing out of the 49ers or Baltimore. You know what I mean? You're just they were kind of like the early Eagles too. Like that's the same thing. You're just kind of skating by teams, not really putting your best foot forward. And I think there's plenty of room for Jacksonville to grow, but they just don't scare me anymore.
Yeah, not at all. I honestly don't even. I personally have the Colts winning the division. I know people are probably like the Colts. Look, the Colts have a game they could easily win today against the Falcons. The Jags have another tough game, and if the Colts win and the Jags lose, Colts are in first place.
Listen, that's not that far fetched. Miami can still miss the playoffs right now.
Yeah, they could even lose. Yeah, and the Texans could win the division. I just wish Stroud was playing today because
I'd feel better about the Texans if Stroud was in today.
Yeah, but anyway, the last 4:00 game before the good one. So Cardinals Bears.
Oh, barn burner.
I do actually think that Gerald McCoy had a very interesting, bold prediction for this game.
Mm-hmm.
He predicted both quarterbacks go over 100 yards on the ground today, and I will second that.
It's funny because it is kind of like that kind of matchup. Arizona does have the second worst defense points per game in the NFL, and they're dead last in pressure rate. So,
yeah, and the Bears' defense is getting better each week since Montez Sweat got there. This could be interesting. I'm taking the Bears. I'm not.
I actually have the Bears here too. I think it's a very intriguing matchup simply based on the two quarterbacks.
It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna have a lot of fun watching this one. I know people are gonna say it's a really bad game. Neither team is relevant, but the Bears aren't even technically eliminated from the playoffs yet.
No. What was I gonna say? The only teams eliminated are the Jets, the Patriots, the Titans, the Chargers, the Commanders. And the Cardinals. Oh, sorry, and the Panthers.
Well, obviously, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But no, I'll take the Bears. I think Kyler could have a decent game here. I think Trey McBride's going to have a phenomenal game here. But I honestly think that Justin Fields could go for 150 on the ground today.
I it'll be, like you said, it's going to be interesting either way, even though the teams are terrible.
Michael Irvin even said he doesn't know if it's ever happened. If any of the I don't even know if a quarterback's ever rushed for 200, but he goes, we could see Fields do that today with how bad Arizona's been at stopping rushing quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen. That would be crazy. But no, Bears are a 4-point favorite too, so good for them.
Yeah, I like them here. The matchup just, I don't know. Like, I feel like you got to take Fields and Moore over Kyler and McBride.
Yep, I agree with that.
It's just,
all right. We got a big game. This is going to take some time because there's a lot of elements to this. Dallas goes to Miami.
Ooh.
Miami only a 1-point favorite. So they lose 2 for being the home team here. Dallas coming off of getting curb stomped by the Buffalo Bills run game. 260-something yards allowed on the ground. The Miami Dolphins are going to have Tyreek from everything I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Mostert and A-Chain are playing. Waddle's playing. Jalen Ramsey's playing.
And on the Dallas side, Dallas won't have
Micah Parsons because it's a road game. Oh, sorry.
No, they're not going to have Tyron Smith. They're not going to have Hankins, and they might not have Zach Martin.
Jesus Christ. Let's see what Martin's report is here. That's all it says was able to practice Friday. It does not say anything farther.
Yeah, Hankins didn't even travel.
Yeah.
And Tyron Smith is definitely out. So,
and Malik Hooker's questionable. Could possibly return versus Miami.
Yeah,
that's all it says. That's
a couple. So yeah, on the injury report, it's favoring Miami in my opinion. The Cowboys, the Cowboys lead the league in penalties.
Yeah,
with 102.
That's a very common Mike McCarthy thing. We did that for 4 years while he was our coach for 7.
Cowboys are second worst yards after catch team since week 12. So the last 5 weeks?
Yeah, they're also really, really bad at tackling.
And Dolphins are the best defensively yards after catch team since week 12.
Let's see here.
I think the Dolphins defense is better than people give them credit for.
7th in total yards, 10th against the pass, 4th against the run, 14th in points. Pretty decent defense. Not the best, but definitely a lot better than people realize.
This is kind of like the battle of the frauds.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, 3-4 on the road versus a team who hasn't beat a single team with a winning record in over a year and a half.
And I'm sorry, but there's a recent eye test where I saw Will Levis post up a couple touchdowns in under 3 minutes.
Yeah, and Michael Irvin tried to make an excuse last week or today that the reason Dak was so bad was because it was wet out and it was raining, so he couldn't play. And I was like, bro, your defense let the Bills run for 260-something yards. Dak was bad, but your defense showed they can't handle any type of physicality. They are a speed-only defense.
Yeah, they're Miami's a speed-only offense. And so basically if you could just take one unit from each team and put them together, you'd have a contender.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this game. I already had picked it. Now I'm
I had it picked until I just saw this. The Cowboys are 12-1 against the spread after a loss since 2021.
I have the Cowboys written down.
I feel like I always do this, and I always want to take the defensive team because they're generally the more physical team. So normally I would take Dallas here.
They're 19th against the run.
I have Miami written down. I'm sticking it.
I don't. Oh, I feel bad picking the Cowboys, but I have to stick it.
You know what's funny is when I've picked against the Cowboys and you've picked them, you've won those games.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is like the Commanders Jets pick. It could go either way. It's just a much better game.
Yeah, part of me is like, what if Tyreek just gets open in the middle of the field twice? He only needs twice, and the game's over.
Oh, if Miami can jump out to a lead.
Yeah, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
They also, the other thing the Dolphins can do in this game is just rely on. Actually, Mike McDaniel claims that this week they're going to rely on Mostert and A-Chain more than any other week. They're going to use the ground game, which could be just smoke and mirrors to make the Cowboys focus on how to fucking handle a run and then throw all over them. But I don't know. I don't feel comfortable picking the Cowboys, which I never do, but I really don't this week. Mike McDaniel, when he was asked this week about the not beating a team with a winning record, he goes, I actually told all my players they can respectfully tell the media to go F themselves.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I did. I saw that interview this morning.
And I'm like, so it's clearly bothering him, and they're tired of hearing about it. So this is the week to get it done.
Yeah, but in the same breath, by saying that, if they lose, then the media's just going to come back harder. Like,
yeah, and it proves the point. Like everyone's talking about how the fact that they're 6-1 at home, it don't matter if you can't beat a winning team at home. And they play the Baltimore Ravens next week, so they get back-to-back winning teams. And then the Bills.
Mm-hmm. And could have everything on the line for that game. So, like, you got to win this one.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of a weakened Cowboys team, especially since they're on the road, because that's the only time they're bad. Whatever. I'm going to move on before I overthink this too much. Patriots, Broncos, Sunday Night Football. On NFL Network. For those who want to watch Sunday Night Football, remember, do not look at NBC. It will not be on NBC. It is on NFL Network tonight. I do not know why.
Probably because NBC was like, we don't want that game.
I was like, I don't know when I have heard Sunday Night Football not have Carrie Underwood singing to me, but we don't get it tonight. 3-0 is not unrealistic. Oh, full PPR. Hold on. Start 3. Also, Jamar was out. Need to start another wide receiver. Zay Flowers, Nico Collins, or Chris. Happy holidays to you as well, Kobe. All right. I'll give you an answer, then Doc can give you his answer.
Yeah. I'm going to look up a couple things real quick.
But for me, I'm going Rachaad White, Pacheco, and Jonathan Taylor. Only because Ian Rappaport literally like 20 minutes ago on NFL Network said there is no McKinnon this week, and Pacheco is expected to receive the full workload tomorrow. So I have a feeling he'll be back to full God mode.
Mm-hmm.
And Rachaad White's been way too good lately to bench. And Jonathan Taylor's coming back with no Zach Moss behind him, so they're going to need him. And no Michael Pittman, so he's going to be in the passing game too, so I think that's going to be huge. So
ETN, we talked about, he's kind of just hit a brick wall.
Not the biggest ETN fan the past few weeks. Zeke is not someone I can ever trust. Wide receivers, though, with Chase out. It's so hard to say sit Chris Godwin after what I saw last week.
Yeah, and Zay Flowers is playing against San Fran.
Yeah, I'll take Godwin. I'm going to take Godwin slightly over Zay. I like Nico Collins, but I don't like Case Keenum against the Browns.
Yeah, that Nico Collins I would not touch.
But I'm going to go with Chris Godwin and then JT, Pacheco, and Rachaad White for me. I feel actually like that's a really good lineup. I would take that in a DraftKings lineup.
Godwin is playing against the
Jags.
29th
ranked pass defense.
God. Like I feel like I would play Flowers. I mean, you're probably not going to get much between him and. There's not going to be much difference between him and Godwin, in my opinion. Godwin probably has the higher ceiling based on the fact that he's not playing the Niners.
Yep. On the road.
Yeah, so I'd probably, I'd go with Godwin, I would think.
Godwin has the lesser floor. Zay Flowers potentially has the bigger ceiling because we could see a Zay Flowers like 60-yard touchdown out of nowhere if he gets an open field. But I think Godwin is the safer bet for a playoff game.
Yeah, because I feel like Baltimore Niners could be either like a knockdown, drag-out game, or the Niners just blow them out.
Yeah.
I don't see it going the other way. I can see Baltimore winning, but I can't see them like blowing out the Niners.
Yeah.
And then if you have that, sometimes the Niners start playing second and third pieces, so you can get some easy points out of it. But yeah, I think Godwin's the play here. It's probably about a coin flip if you check anywhere.
But yeah, I don't touch ETN or Zeke this weekend.
No.
Especially since the Bucs run defense is so good. I wouldn't touch it. Any other questions, feel free to ask. We love answering fantasy questions. We'll continue with our pick, though. I'm going Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not picking the Patriots. I need them to lose.
Yeah, you need that draft pick.
That's right. What can I say? I mean, this kind of has trap written all over it, right? Like
for Denver.
Yeah, I've certainly for Denver. I think they're what are they, a 7-point favorite?
Yeah.
And they're kind of in that must-win mode now too, right? They have to win.
100%. 7-7, they have to win in the AFC.
I don't know. I can't see the Patriots offense putting together enough to beat that defense. The defense has looked rough at times, but
yeah, I don't think so. Not at home. Not in Denver. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't know if they cover the 7, but I think Denver wins.
I don't know if they cover the 7 because I could easily see this be a 9-3 football game.
Maybe we get 2 3-0s.
But all right, Monday day, Christmas Day football game, December 25th, Christmas Day, 1:00 in the Eastern time. It is going to be rainy. I just checked Weather Channel for Kansas City's weather. It is going to be rainy and sloppy. Las Vegas versus the Raiders. The Raiders versus the Chiefs. Chiefs are a 10.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
I can't talk myself out of it. I'm taking the Chiefs.
I mean, I can't either. Like people sleep on the Chiefs, but they have like one of the best defenses in the league when it comes to points per game, and they get a ton of pressure on quarterbacks.
Yeah, and Isaiah Pacheco is going to run wild probably. I just can't. I can't do it. I really can't. I was trying, but no.
I don't like the 10.5 is tough, but if you look at the history, the Chiefs just slap the Raiders around. Like,
yep.
For a team, remember? I think it was the Raiders game the last time when everybody's like, "Oh, they haven't scored in the second half." Well, they did against the Raiders.
20-something in the 24 in the second half. Yeah.
Same old Raiders. Yeah, I can't take the Raiders here. Not with Aiden O'Connell. I can't.
Yeah. No. All right. 4:30 Christmas Day, Philadelphia on the back of a 3-game losing streak, struggling all around, turmoil all over the team. A.J. Brown shit-talking his quarterback this week. Nick Sirianni handles it very badly in the media. A lot of issues in Philadelphia right now. but this is the best chance to get everything right because all these issues only happen when you're losing. When you're winning, everybody's happy and nobody cares. Problem is, the Eagles haven't in a while had a 3-game losing streak, and they're all acting like little toddlers and don't know how to handle it.
If Philly loses this game, Santa Claus ain't going to be the only thing they're fucking booing. I'll tell you that.
If Philly loses this game, I'm gonna call someone in the Philly area to go find Boogie and make sure she's okay because Philly hosts the Giants tomorrow, and a 13.5-point favorite are the Philadelphia Eagles. And Tommy Cutlets might have trademarked his nickname, Tommy Cutlets, but that man ain't doing it after what I saw last week against.
Oh, you mean the guy who also trademarked the passing paisano?
Yeah, the guy who just looked terrible against the New Orleans Saints.
Okay, so I know Philly fans with this defense, right? You're probably like, oh, this defense is horrible. Well, just understand, you're playing the Giants, and the thing they're really horrible at is offense.
Yes, but here's something no one ever talks about right now. The last 5 weeks, we're going back 5 full, not just the 3-game losing streak, 5 weeks. The Philadelphia Eagles run defense is 31st in the NFL, and they have to stop Saquon Barkley. That is the only negative that I have for the Eagles entering this game. Their secondary is probably going to get shit right this week because this is the team with no freaking weapons. So
the Giants on offense post the NFL's second worst yards per game with 111 yards averaged on the ground and 150 yards through the air. So if you're going to dice them up, you're going to have to dice them up on the ground because you don't have an air game in New York. Other funny stat.
Just say New York because, yeah, you're right. Both teams.
and then I'm just going to make a horrible joke about no-fly zone in New York City, but the Giants, all of their kickers are hurt.
No way.
So the 2 guys they have that can kick field goals are both hurt, and their punter is questionable.
Oh, the Scottish Hammer? That's his nickname. I don't know.
He's only kicked 1 field goal, and he might have to kick field goals for them.
They didn't go sign anyone?
I don't think so.
No, they have a 3rd kicker on roster. Mason Crosby.
Oh, they picked up Crosby?
Yeah.
What? Wait, wasn't he? Where was he just at?
The Rams cut him because Haversick hasn't missed a field goal.
That's right. That's right. He was with the Rams. That was the night we talked about it.
For the record, Randy Bullock, Graham Gano are both on the IR. They signed Cade York last week, and he hurt his quadriceps. So they actually have 3 kickers on the IR.
Wow. Okay, so at least they did pick up somebody because I was reading that earlier, and I'm like, they might not have like an actual kicker.
I mean, they might as well have no kicker. From what we saw out of Crosby the last 2 years in Green Bay, I'm not quite sure that this is really a good thing. But
well, where is this game? Is this
Philly?
Oh, it's in Philly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get close.
Yeah.
And that's proven tough for the Giants, but yeah, they're gonna have to get close.
Yep. The only chance they have is that the run game. Saquon is going to have like 175 yards.
Oh yeah, like if he doesn't have his best game of the season, there's no shot.
Yep. But I'm taking the Eagles.
Yeah, I have the Eagles written down. The Giants are awful. The Tommy Cutlets thing is a fun story, but let's be real here. As bad as the Eagles are, I have been as of recent. Ooh.
Oh no, I don't like you.
Oh my God, this is a tough question.
I know.
Oh man.
Merry Christmas to you as well.
Yeah, thanks. Merry Christmas. You just gave us a lump of coal.
This is the hardest
man.
I've thought in a week, maybe longer.
Oh God.
And I was getting seduced by a devil in Baldur's Gate yesterday, and I didn't think this hard. Oh.
It's tough because with Achane, you never know how much him and Mostert are going to get the ball.
And it's tough because, like, if Dallas goes up 20, you're not going to run the ball.
Right. I probably, based on, like, just sheer averages, the numbers would probably point to Achane.
Oh man, Achane's guaranteed a touchdown in my opinion.
And I mean, Arizona, like the Bears know that McBride is the only weapon.
It made me feel real weird. It made me feel weirder, Boogie, because Mike didn't even like say anything, and we're playing his playthrough, and he just sat there and watched and didn't give any advice on what he wanted me to do, and I was like, this is weird. I'm gonna go with Achane, low key, just slightly. I love Trey McBride, don't get me wrong, but the Bears defense has played exceptionally better the past few weeks, and I think that might hinder McBride a little here. And Achane's probably going to get involved. They said that they're going to rely on Mostert and Achane more this week than they did last week. The best way the best way the Dolphins can win this game is ground game. They've got to keep CeeDee Lamb and that offense off the field so they can't even get a redemption shot. And I mean, it's just ground game in general. We saw what Buffalo did last week. Run the ball down their throat. They can't stop you. They're not physical. Their only physical player, like big physical, hard-hitting player on the entire roster on defense entering this season is Leighton Vander Esch, and he's out for probably the rest of his career because of his third neck injury. They don't have any big hitting linebackers to stop the ground game.
Yeah, they seem like a physical defense until you put them up against a team that's real physical. Like Buffalo,
they're just fast.
The Niners,
they're so fast. They look physical because they outspeed by everybody, and you're like, "Wow, they just blew right through that."
But they're only fast on their home track.
Yeah, and their defensive tackles aren't even big. Like their defensive tackles might be the smallest. I gotta go Achane.
I just think Achane definitely like.
I kind of hope for you this is like a dynasty league because those two tight ends are going to be they're going to be the new Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce in like 2 years.
Oh yeah, judging by the way they're playing right now, you have no problems if you could keep those guys. But yeah, I would go Achane here. Just again, when he does play, his points above average is so high in fantasy.
Yep.
So I think you're just given probably. And tight ends can be up and down for points. Running backs are almost guaranteed a certain amount of points.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I would say about Achane that's kind of questionable would be what's he nursing, like a toe injury, right?
Yeah.
So just something to be weary of, but I would go Achane here too.
Final game of the week. I'm going to say it. I've said it all week. I've said it all season. This is my Super Bowl matchup. It was my Super Bowl matchup before the season started. It still is to this day. I don't care what tomorrow looks like. I still think these are the two Super Bowl teams. But Baltimore visits San Francisco. I am rolling with the visiting team. I'm taking defense beats offense. That's the only reason. I'm just taking it. Taking it to the bank. I feel a lot less confident. Without Keaton Mitchell now.
Yeah, like always, Baltimore get to the end of the season, be one of the most banged up teams. Got 16 guys on the IR.
Yep. And I am nervous as fuck that Lamar's not making it through tomorrow, considering Lamar's history. And this is the most physical dominating team in the league. But I'm just going to take the Ravens. I have zero.
Here. Let me shake it up for you a little bit, okay? Because the Ravens are the number one rated defense, points per game at 16.1. But just remember, the Niners are number 2 on that list at 16.7.
I know.
Now, where the Ravens have the edge, I think, is that the Niners do give up more yards on the ground, and the Ravens are the number 1 rushing team in the NFL.
It's like I don't even remember how far back we go now. It's like 16 games or something with 100 yards on the ground, again, like total rushing yards, 100 yards or more. It's a very long streak for the Ravens right now. But
now remember, and also the Ravens aren't top 5 in rushing or pass defense, despite being the best points per game defense in the NFL.
No, they let you get to the red zone and then they stop you because they have Kyle Hamilton, Patrick Queen, and Roquan Smith.
Yeah, good luck beating those guys in tight.
Yeah,
let me see here. The Ravens run the ball on NFL high 50.8% of offensive plays and have the second fewest pass attempts. The 49ers run the ball the league's second highest rate, 49.8, and do in fact have the fewest pass attempts.
Yeah.
So this is literally the same. These teams are built the same way.
Yeah, and they have a long history lately together.
The Ravens are the best first half team in the NFL. So I wouldn't expect San Francisco to jump out to a lead and do what they do to other teams. But
And the Ravens have also beat the Niners the last 2 times they've met.
Yeah.
Granted, that goes back to the Super Bowl and then the one rematch after the Super Bowl, and that's it. But I don't know. I'm going to say this ahead of time. The way the Niners win this game, Christian McCaffrey has to have 100 yards on the ground, and he has to at least have 1 touchdown.
Oh, if McCaffrey doesn't have a touchdown, I don't think they can win the game.
Because Brandon Stevens will shadow Debo, which won't stop Debo, but it'll limit him, which is all you need to do. You need to just slow him down some.
You just want to make sure he doesn't get a full head of steam after catching the ball 4 yards down the field, because he turns 4 into 40 real fast.
Yeah, and Kyle Hamilton patrols a lot of the tight ends, so I don't actually think Kittle has a game. Kyle Hamilton is too damn fucking good.
Kyle Hamilton is a unbelievable player.
Yeah, second year. I don't even know how that's possible as a safety, but he's just
like the Ravens can I feel like people just forget they exist, right? Because look at the names on their defense and tell me they don't do the same thing the Niners do, which is just go out and be like, oh, we'll sign that guy.
It's because Baltimore gets no love. The city of Baltimore is one of those cities that the media really doesn't like to talk about. So
yeah, I feel like quietly Baltimore is either the best or the second best team in the NFL, and nobody talks about them.
No, I say it. I said this in an argument once in a fantasy and football chat I'm in on Facebook, and my argument was simply this: if Ray Lewis played for someone like the Giants, like Lawrence Taylor did, Ray Lewis would be considered the best linebacker of all time. But he played in Baltimore, so people put him at 5th. The dude literally did everything you would want a linebacker to do, and he read the quarterback better than anybody.
Yeah, and then again, okay, so they have that guy, and now
he faced Tom Brady. Yeah, I don't know how they did it, and they got Roquan to sign a long-term deal, so he's basically just the new version of Ray in the modern era of football.
He's him and Patrick Queen
hit you as hard.
They don't miss tackles.
No, and then you get Matabuke in front of it, who has had 9 straight games of his half a sack or more.
Yeah,
and he's a contracted at the end of the year.
Well, he's definitely earning it because his output is outrageous. One little sneaky fact right now: Monday Night Football, which this game is currently enjoying the underdog winning the last 7 matchups.
The Ravens are the dog, right?
I think they're a 5.5-point dog.
Jesus Christ. I wouldn't have minded a 3. Could you just say neutral? Because this is a neutral game.
Oh, it opened at 5. It's now at 6.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
I think what they're saying is without Mitchell, it just became that much harder.
I just think you put Zay Flowers back in the offense more than you have the last few weeks. Let him run the ball.
Oh, Odell's got an illness. That's what moved it another point.
And Zay's questionable with a foot injury.
Yeah. Which, by the way, also San Fran has got a couple issues. Hargrave might not play. Diamador Lenore is nursing a rib injury.
Eric Armstead's out.
Yeah.
I don't know. This will be a very, very good game. I'm really excited. Did I just read that Voorhees might play this season? Hold on. It's football time.
I think the key to this game is going to be how much pressure Baltimore puts on Purdy.
Yeah, team that leads the league in sacks, but can they get by Trent Williams?
Yeah,
Well,
if you can disrupt,
Matabuke's dead center. He's a defensive tackle, so if he can get there, they have a shot.
and because like people are going to be like, well, the Niners have Bosa and what's his name there, Young on the other side, Chase
Yeah.
Young.
Young's
Yeah,
facing Ronnie Stanley.
But I've seen every team get after Lamar. It doesn't phase him.
Yeah, they come through the middle. That fucking the left guard and the center are so well. Linderbaum's not bad. He's just growing. He's a second-year center.
Is it Stanley? Ronnie Stanley? Is that their guy?
Yeah, Ronnie Stanley's untouchable at left tackle. That guy is just unbelievable.
But he's been like cycling in and out. Is he dealing with an issue?
He's always injured. He's a Notre Dame guy. No, but he's missed seven.
He's just cycling it back in.
He missed 6 games this year. He left last week due to an injury. He came back. Then someone stepped on his foot and he stayed out the rest of the game. But he's playing tomorrow. He's not on the injury report. So, but you're right. He does cycle in and out, and the backup to him has no idea how to play offensive tackle. It's a transition to left guard playing left tackle now.
I was going to say, because I would just, that would be one of my concerns. Is if he's not playing, which is kind of hit or miss.
Yep.
Because and then I guess the biggest other concern for me is no matter how this game ends up, neither of these teams want any more injuries.
Nope.
And this is going to be the most physical game of the year.
Yep. And it's also going to be, I mean, like I said, this game decides so much for both too. Because if the Ravens win here, they pretty much
basically cement themselves as having the bye.
I mean, yeah, they're the 1 seed already. They win this game. Their next games are who do they play? They play Miami next week, and then they end the season with the Steelers. The Niners win this, they're automatically the 1 seed because their season gets so much easier. Yeah, they get the Rams, but I think they can handle them. And then they get the Cardinals, I believe, to end the season. I actually don't remember the Niners' schedule. I'm not going to pretend I don't remember it. I'm trying to do it, but I can't off the top of my head.
Hold on. Let me see something here.
I'm actually pulling it up. Oh, Commanders next week, and then the Rams. So, I don't know. And there's Amari Cooper for a 60-yard bomb to start the game.
Joe Flacco off to a hot start.
I don't know if it was 60, but it was a deep bomb. They're at the 5-yard line.
Wow. That was fast.
But they had a big kick return, so I just don't know. I don't know how much that was of that game. But, all right, guys, we're going to let you all go. It's Christmas Eve. We know you guys got places to go and things to do and people
and
to
football to watch.
And really good football games to watch. And 4 o'clock, you get the Cowboys, and 4:25, you get Cowboys-Dolphins, which is game of the day. I can't say week with the Ravens and Niners tomorrow. Not 60-yard, but a 50-yard bomb. And I had Amari Cooper today for 60 and a half yards, so there's 50 of it already.
Well, you're almost there.
But look, we love you guys so much. We thank everybody for the fantasy questions, hanging out with us, dropping by, watching football talk. I don't know if Grizzly's live. I don't know if there's anyone live. And there's a Sam Howell interception.
Grizz is live.
He's still live?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll drop some love on Grizz.
Yeah, it probably ends pretty soon, knowing him. But
he'll go somewhere else. So, but Merry Christmas to all of you. We are live tomorrow at 8 o'clock because me and Dodd have nothing else to do, and we're going to talk football. We're going to talk everything about today and the other football games on Thursday and Saturday, and then the 1 and 4 o'clock game tomorrow. Remember, there's 3 games tomorrow. But then we will be watching the Niners game with anybody who joins us. But we understand that people have family and things to do tomorrow. So if you can stop by, we'll appreciate it. Either way, we appreciate all of you. We love you guys. We will be here tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern time.
Have a Merry Christmas and enjoy the football.
But have a great Christmas, everybody. Boogie, thank you so much for always being here and being a great mod. Darlene, thanks for being here.
Yes,
YouTubers, thanks for the fantasy questions. We appreciate all of you guys.
Except for the McBride HN question, because that one's tough.
I'm going to be thinking about it all day now.
I know. Imagine if like McBride goes for like 40 points. I'm going to feel so bad.
The whole games I'm going to be just watching them now.
Yeah. Just have their points up next to each other. Like, did we give this guy the wrong information?
Yep. All right, Twitch viewers, we're gonna give some love to the Grumpy Grizzly. Let's go.
Yay. I should probably